What's good, YouTube? We're back again with another tutorial. As you can see by the title, we're making an old ATL trap type beat. So hope you guys enjoyed. A couple of people have asked me to make a style like this, and I kind of been wanting to experiment with it too and kind of stretch my legs a little bit, see if I can make something a little bit different than what's outside my norm. So we went ahead and tried this. So if you haven't already, follow, like, comment, share, subscribe, show love to the channel, all that good stuff, so that way the algorithm begins to work in my favor, and we can keep making these videos. So let's go ahead and hop into FL Studio and let's get started. All right, so we're here in FL Studio. Let's go ahead and solo this. So yeah, I was just kind of going for like a trap type of old ATL, like old Gucci Mane, Jeezy, like, you know, Black Migo Gang type of style, type of vibe, something that kind of sounds like that in that type of era. So I tried my best to put this together. And if you stick around, as always, I'll go over the different VSTs and go through each and every single sound. And but wait till the end for that. Yeah, as long as you stick around, we'll go through all of that. So let's go ahead and go through the first sound. So this is the first sound that I got, and it's some strings. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Then after that, I layered that one. So I layered it with some brass because all those types of beats have a brass. Like you have to have a brass in that type of style or in that beat to make that type of style. So this is the brass that I have. All right, and then we'll put together. So my thinking with this was to try to mesh a little bit of like the Chief Keef glow type of style, that type of sound, and like that old ATL style, because they kind of like coincide. They kind of sound very similar, and I like the Chief Keef glow type of style. If you go back and look like 10 years ago, you'll see my very first type beat. I'll probably put like a little snapshot of it somewhere on here that I ever posted 10 years ago, well over 10 years ago. I think it's like 13 now. Was a Chief Keef glow type beat. So yeah, so let's hop into the next portion of that. So I kind of combined that kind of style of the Chief Keef glow sound with like the chord progression that I made with those chords there with the strings, added the brass, and then the key to these types of beats are just keeping everything simple. Because if you go back and listen to any type of those old school ATL trap beats, like they're all pretty simple sounding beats and melodies and whatnot. So you know, don't overthink it. So that's kind of what I did. I had to dumb down my melodies a little bit. So here I added some plucks. So here's what we got now with the plucks. And of course, that's that type of pluck sound that you always hear with that type of style. So then you add all three of those. Then we go ahead and throw in like a little synth sound. As you can hear, it's starting to kind of come along. So then we go back to the next sound. Here's our next sound right here, which is a lead. All right, and then All right. So next we're gonna go over the drums. So with the drums are pretty simple when it comes to these types of beats. Like you don't want to go too hard or do anything too extra, too crazy or anything like that. Basically, what you want to do is just have like a simple hi-hat pattern, simple clap, simple little snare, or maybe other instruments in there, and just a regular straight up like 808. Just like nothing too elaborate, nothing too wild. And we're gonna throw some other kind of instruments in between that and piece it all together. So let's go ahead and hop back into FL Studio so we can go over those instruments. All right, so we're back here in FL Studio. So like I mentioned in the video before, in the part beforehand, just like I mentioned in the part beforehand, guys, we want to keep things kind of simple. So I didn't add too many crazy instruments or anything like that. Kept things fairly simple, and this is what we got so far when you put everything together. This is everything without the melodies actually playing. All right, so nothing too crazy, nothing too elaborate. So then when you toss it all together, so that's pretty much it, guys. When you throw it all together like that, that's what you kind of end up with. That's kind of how you make these styles. Like I said, the main important key thing to take away from these tutorials, and this one in particular, is finding the right sound and utilizing them. So from this point forward, when I start making these types of styles and this different types of beats, I'll keep in mind, like, okay, I need this type of sound, I need the brass, I need this type of pluck, I need this. So once you start like piecing together these different sounds that go into these different genres, you can start dibbling and dabbling in different genres and kind of start adding to your repertoire and becoming a better producer and grow as a producer. So let's go ahead and hop into song mode and go ahead and check out this whole entire beat, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, and that's all I got for you guys. And those of you guys that stick around, obviously, like I say, I'm going to break down the beat in its entirety, go over some other little, extra tips and tricks, and the actual real sauce and the secret to making these types of beats and just beats in general. So I appreciate the guys that stick around for that. If you guys, the rest of you guys that enjoy the beginning part of the tutorial, and this is all you guys need, I appreciate you guys sticking around as well. Follow, like, comment, share, subscribe, and just show some love to the channel. And continue to drop some love in the comment section, man. I've been appreciating the feedback, all the constructive criticism. I'm not perfect, so I'm still learning how to do this thing for you guys, and I want to make this as a good piece of teaching tool, or a good piece of equipment that you can use, that you can take something with you, learn from this, add it to your repertoire, and actually like build as an artist, as a producer, or creative, whatever you are, because I feel like the things that I'm helping you guys with can apply to anything. It doesn't have to be just being strictly producing. So yeah, so let's follow, like, comment, share, subscribe, like I always say. And for the other guys that's going to stick around for the rest, let's go ahead and hop into it, and let's really break this beat down. So let's get into it. All right, so I appreciate you guys that have stuck around. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. Let's see what we've got here. So for the first sound, what I started off with the strings, right? So that's through Xenology, using lush strings, and this is what I came out with. Oops. And I didn't do anything too crazy or nothing spectacular, because this is actually my first time making this type of style of beat. So I just kind of wanted to keep things simple. I just wanted to get like the basic concept, and I'll explain to you, continue to kind of explain things as I built off of this. So like I do with all my beats, I built off the first melody with the second one by kind of using those chords. I think the chords, yeah, they're down there, and then I just built off of those. So if I drop these down, they probably are right where they. Yep. See, I kind of built off of those. So this is what we got with that. And again, I wanted to keep things kind of simple. I didn't want to go too crazy, too elaborate, or do too much. So then let's hop into the next. Oops, I'm sorry, guys. For the brass, Biggie Brass, Xenology. And then for the plucks, this is what we got here for the plucks. Now, I knew when I first started this beat, I was absolutely going to add this sound in here. I just had to find it, which, I just simply look for it because it's an actual instrument, the pizzicato. So that's it right there. It's in Xenology as well. I don't know if you guys noticed that when I make beats, I tend to stay within the same VST. The reason why I do that is because early on, I kind of noticed when I made beats that it seemed like all the VST sounds kind of sound good together when they're coming from the same VST. Like they all kind of like meshed well. Like they all made sense of why all these VSTs are in this, or all these particular sounds are in this VST. It made sense to me. So like that's kind of why I like to keep them together. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, or maybe it's just my ear or how I think. I don't know. It could be. But just to me, that's why I've always like kind of stuck with doing that. And I do mix and match some types of sounds. Like if I think of, okay, this sound sounds particularly similar to this sound, and from this VST, those two sounded good together, then I'll mix and match, because I'm not opposed to it or anything like that. It's just for whatever reason, I've just always done that. So I know people kind of ask me that, have asked me that in the DMs before, and that's the answer. So let's hop back into it. This is the next sound, the synth. This synth is Ocarnia. Yeah, no. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Ocarnia of Mine. I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce that, guys. Somebody put it in there how you pronounce it. All right, it's a synth lead in Xenology. All right, and then we've got the next sound, the lead, which that lead is alpha split. Oh wait, I don't think I showed you guys the previous one. Sorry. It's and basically how I made this melody was I took the previous pluck melody and I just kind of basically stretched it out, made the notes a little bit farther between each other. If you notice that, so see, it's the same pattern, just the notes are stretched out, and an extra, I guess, half step. And then as far as my instruments, and with the hi-hats, I really went simple with the hi-hats because they're always typically simple. They just have a really long, like hi-hat roll typically, and they don't like change octaves and keys and whatnot typically. First snare, then you got the second snare. All right. Remember, I always said like make sure the 808s are kind of simple, and then I made another 808 that's a little bit more complex, but still very because you really want to leave room for these types of beats and beats in general for the artist to be able to rap on. You don't want to overproduce because that's how you don't get placements, right? So after making the two little 808s and everything, of course, with every type of ATL style, you have to add some type of crazy snare roll. And so I used to really like doing snare rolls when I first started making beats, and I would just do it randomly, just in beats, because I thought they were kind of cool sounding. Because I listened, I can't speak. I listened to this style back in the day. So as I had began learning making beats, I enjoyed the snare rolls, so I implemented them. So this is how I did my snare rolls. So basically, to make snare rolls, let's just solo this one out as well too. So I know people try to are going to ask about this. You just want to kind of listen to the beat and see when it sounds like a snare roll could start. Like if you want to do these really long ones like this, which a good time to start is like just also looking at the timing of the beat. If you're making a 4-bar loop, it'd probably be good to start it somewhere in the second bar so that it can like have a build up for 1 bar, then 2 bars. Well, 1 bar of build up, which would be the start of like right here, then another bar of build up, and then the final like snare roll all the way out to the end, right? So this is it by itself, if you want to just hear it. And they're actually really easy to do. This looks like it's complex, but really all I did was just do this, right? And then control click that, and then do like Alt U, I think is for it, or actually let's do this. Yeah, I think it's Alt U, whatever is the chop tool, and then I just chop it basically, right? So I put those two up there, chop it, took one, chopped it completely, then just did like like a space to like you got to give the snare roll time to like breathe, so it sounds like it's building up, like because a snare roll is essentially like when you're watching like a marching band play, and that one guy that comes out with the snare, with the actual snare drum, he's like he's doing his thing, like snaring and whatever it is that they do, like you want it to sound like he's kind of building it up to like for the next part, because that's literally what this actual instrument is for and what it sounds like and what it's used for in that type of sense. So you want to use this as a build-up sound. So that's why you do a little bit of snaring, stop for a second to make people go, oh, here comes a snare roll. Then you do some more snaring, keep their attention, be like, oh yeah, he's doing some snare stuff. And then you keep on doing the snare roll, and then you really get into it in the end, and that's how a snare roll works. So go ahead, and this is the visual representation of what I'm showing you too as well. And it doesn't even necessarily have to, like, I guess in music beat making, like, make sense, like where you're putting these and how you're chopping them, as long as the chops are even. Like you don't want to have like a weird chop where it's off timing. You want it to all be on time chops. And as long as you're using your chop tool over there, you're not going to have any issues and you'll be fine. and then you just add that on the end of like every other like bar. Pretty much, you just add it on the end of transitions for different parts of the beat. So you'll add it to the end of the intro. So all of this is the intro and the build up into getting into the hook. So that's why I threw it in right here. This is the end of the hook right here, right? So that's why I threw it in right there, right? And then same thing with the verse. This is the end of the verse after the verse. Then we go into the bridge, and so I threw it in after the bridge. Then we're back to the hook. So you copy and paste the hook and everything in there in the proper space. Then you've got another verse right here, obviously the end of it. Boom, snare roll. Then you've got your bridge again. Boom, snare roll. Then you've got your beat outro. And I could have added it in there if I wanted to, but I wanted the outro to be a little bit different. So we didn't do that there. So that's kind of how that works with adding the snare roll. And then, you know, obviously when you put it all together, that's what you get, guys. Like, it's not super hard. Now that I have this, you know, idea of how to make one, I can continue to make them. And as I continue to make these, I'll get better and better. And eventually I'll get really good at making these types of beats. I'll have my normal style of beats on lock, and then whatever other styles I decide I want to take, you know, advantage of and try to grow from by learning those styles. So you guys can do the same thing, and I suggest you do it. As a producer, you should be trying to hone in and sharpen your skills, get better, and add things to your repertoire. And you can always just become a better and better producer. So why not just keep adding skills? The more skills you have, the more valuable that you become, and you're able to put a larger price on what your ticket is of what you are. Because I mean, hey, you've got a reason to prove it, to show for it. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and the guys that stuck around for this long length of time and stick around for this, I really appreciate you guys. Hats off to you. Let's drop another hashtag in the comment section. Let's call this hashtag ATL. ATL. That's what we'll do. Hashtag ATL. No. Let's take that back. Let's take that back. Let's do hashtag because I don't want to give ATL all the props. We're gonna do hashtag versatile. Hashtag versatile. Or hashtag versatility. Whichever way you want to do it. Hashtag versatile. Hashtag versatility. I like versatility. Hashtag versatility. That's what we'll do. We'll do hashtag versatility. As a producer, you got to be versatile in this game. So if you haven't already, follow, like, comment, share, subscribe. Like I always say, follow me on all my social media. If I got it, you'll find me. If I don't, you won't. And that's really about it, guys. But I appreciate all the love and support. Drop some comments in the comment section of what you guys think, and keep showing love, man. We'll be back next week with another cook up, or, you know, beat breakdown or tutorial or whatever it is, engineering stuff. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Peace.